The ocean. Vast, limitless. A common resource owned by no one. For centuries, New Englanders have fished in the Gulf of Maine, a body of water teeming with an incredible diverse array of marine life. The Gulf of Maine is part of the larger Atlantic Ocean and is located on the northeastern coast of North America. It is bordered by Cape Cod, Massachusetts in the south, and Cape Sable, located on the tip of Nova Scotia in the north. The New England states that form the coastline on the western edge of the Gulf are Massachusetts, a small part of New Hampshire, and Maine. Georges Bank borders the Gulf of Maine on the east. For millions of years, the Gulf of Maine has supported a vast array of plant and animal life. With over 2,000 species inhabiting its waters, this Gulf is one of the most diverse marine ecosystems in the world. For centuries, this productive body of water has sustained coastal communities whose culture and livelihood are intimately tied to these cold Atlantic waters. Large populations of fish such as cod, haddock, and yellowtail flounder inhabit the Gulf and are the target of both past and modern-day fishermen. Commonly referred to as groundfish, these fish populations sustained fishing communities for generations and gave rise to the New England fishing industry. However, is the fisherman way of life soon about to vanish? Although the Gulf of Maine has sustained generations of fishermen and their families, this marine ecosystem is much less productive than it once was. James Wilson, resource economist.
If we keep going the way we're going, I suspect we're going to wind up with close to a desert out here.
Each pullback of the net is a reminder to fishermen that the industry is in crisis. Compared to fishing levels in 1965, catches of codfish are down 40%, flounder is down 90%, and haddock catches are down a shocking 96%. Fishermen, scientists, politicians, and economists all agree that the problem is so severe the fish may never recover. But there are conflicting views of the problem's causes. Craig Pendleton has gone out on fishing boats since he was 9 years old and has a university degree in fishing. He wonders what will happen as new regulations put the squeeze on the small fishermen.
There's a lot of issues. We just happen to be the scapegoats right now because we're the visible people and we're the ones, that can be regulated the easiest.
Large boat operators like Barbara Stevenson also see the relationship between the fishermen and the fish as very complex.
There's so many different things that can affect whether or not you have a big year class. For instance, in yellowtail, you wouldn't have a big year class unless the weather's cold. Now, as far as I know, we can't make a cold winter or a warm winter, so you have a cold winter, you go, oh great, we're going to have some yellowtail in a couple years.
Many people agree that the first serious blow to the fish population came in the 1960s, when huge foreign factory boats came in and vacuumed up the fish in the Gulf of Maine and the offshore Georges Bank region. In 1976, the federal government banned foreign boats. But by the mid-'80s, the number of U.S. boats grew to equal the size of the banished international fleet. Now, with fish stocks at historically low levels, the debate rages over what can be done. Close the fishery? Put limits on the fishermen? Robert Alden, former Commissioner of Marine Resources, State of Maine.
Human beings can figure out how to catch fish beyond the capacity of the fish to recover. And once you admit that, then you've crossed the threshold into agreeing that there will be management. It's just a debate over what and who's going to be affected.
They don't ever look at us as a business. Like, would the federal government step in and tell Walmart that they could only open their doors 180 days a year? They'd be blown out of the water.
Dr. Steve Murawski, Director of Scientific Programs and Chief Science Advisor for NOAA Fisheries.
We're not saying preserve every fish in the ocean. What we're saying is that fish stocks can be productive, they can produce tremendous quantities of fish if in fact you take care of the stocks. Science is not the bane of their existence, it's their hope.
Can this resource be managed? In this battle, the stakes are high. Will this way of life be lost? Will all the oceans of the world eventually be devoid of fish? Spencer Apollonio, marine biologist.
We allow this one with such clear importance and such urgency to fail then we run the risk of allowing the others to fail too. We allow the risk of the life supportment system to collapse.